Good afternoon students. Welcome back to online classes of VLSI design. In today's class we are going to see about your layout diagrams. So in last class we have seen about your design rules of your micrometer, and the design rules that we are having are two types as we have already discussed. One is a lambda based design rule and second one is your micrometer based design rule. First we have seen the lambda based design rule, and the next one was your design rules for the wires. So in that wise we will be having the design rules for the contact cuts. So in the contact cuts we will be having three different types of contacts that we have already discussed. First one is poly to metal, that is one contact, and metal to diffusion. That metal to diffusion is called as your buried contact, and poly diffusion, the poly to diffusion one contact is there, and that is called as butting contact. So in lambda based design rules what we are having some pre-described values. According to that one we have to give the spacing and we have to give the width of your every layer. Whenever we are doing the fabrication process we will be having some layers like silicon dioxide layer we have to use, then we have to use diffusion layer, polysilicon layer, then we have to do the contact cuts for getting your gate, drain and source. So for all this one we need some rules, and for that one we are having one of the rule is lambda based design rule, which is a predefined rule because already they have described for every polysilicon to polysilicon layer there should be 1 lambda of spacing, it should be of 2 lambda of width, the layer should be of 2 lambda of width, and if you are using two different metals, first metal should be of 3 lambda, second metal should be of 4 lambda. But these lambda based design rules are somewhat space consuming. So either of that one we are going for the next design rules, that are your micron based rules or micrometer based rules. Correct? Micrometer based design rules. In that one what we are having the values for all predefined values only for your diffusion, but they are comparatively less space consuming than that of your lambda based design rules. Okay, so again we have seen the contact cuts, what were the different contact cuts, and out of all that one we are going for the buried contact cuts because there we will be having the proper spacing between every layer to layer. But whereas in the butting contact all are combined together, so what happens, all the layers will be overlapping with each other. So due to that one there is no clarity of the metals or diffusions or polysilicons. So that's the reason it is a very what we will say confusing for the designer who is going to design your chip. If the layers are not properly designed, if the layers are not having proper spacing in between them, it will be very difficult for the designer to see what is the proper spacing, how they have to design or prepare an IC. So as to overcome all that problems, we have gone for the buried contact where every spacing for every layer to layer spacing will be 1 lambda. You will be having buried contact like metal to diffusion, or we will be having polysilicon to diffusion. Every contact will be having some proper spacing, and these buried contacts may be very smaller in area when compared to that of your butting contacts. So this was about your last topics that we have discussed till now. In today's class we are going to see the layout diagrams, which are very important for you people in the point of view of final examinations. So whenever you will be having the question for the layout diagrams, I request you people to draw first the stick diagram for the color identification, then you people go for the layout diagrams. That will be very easy for you people. I'll clearly show how you have to go for the layout diagrams also. So before going to layout diagrams, why we have gone for the design rules, because due to these design rules, micrometer design rules, they have been somewhat changed. Some additional features have been added for your layouts. Like at first we used to have green color for diffusions and brown for P diffusion. Okay, here what happens, green we are using for N diffusion and yellow we are using for P diffusion. This I have given in the last class itself. These additional features have been added in your micrometer based design rules. So as to avoid all this confusion and all, so this designer has said that he has added some additional features by adding some range of colors to the already having pattern. So what he has told that we will be having green color for N diffusion, yellow for P diffusion, right, or P type, and pale green for buried N substrate, P is for the pink what we will call base, orange for the polysilicon 2 and red for polysilicon 1. So these are some of the additional features that has been added for you designing the layout figures. So let's just see what are layout diagrams in today's class. So what is layout diagram? So based on the design rules what we have seen till now, and which are associated with the electrical parameters like how much spacing should be there, what should be there, based upon all that the VLSI designer prepares the layout diagram from various marks required in process, and this is called as your what we'll say a hand drawn drawing. Roughly first we will draw this one, then afterwards we will be going to prepare all this one. So the VLSI designer is going to prepare a layout diagram with all various different aspects which is required for your particular application. Either you may draw it on your A4 size paper or normal your paper. Either you can go for the VLSI CAD tools that will be supporting your mark level or the mask level designing. So here I have given some of the examples for your layout diagrams. I have already told how we have to go for the layout diagrams, what is the requirement. So for metals, so once again we'll repeat what is layout diagram. Based upon the design rules and associated electrical parameters, the VLSI designer prepares the layout diagrams for various marks which are required in the process, and they are hand drawn or 5 mm square paper or prepared on VLSI CAD tools that supports the mask level design. So for that one, as to know what is proper actually layout diagram is that I have given some examples here. Very first one is what we are going to prepare, a NMOS inverter. Till now everyone is clear how we have to draw an NMOS inverter stick diagram. This is stick diagram and this is your layout diagram. So before we go to the layout diagrams, once again go back to your stick diagrams tabular column that we will be having. See in this one what you had, a stick diagram where green is used for your N diffusion or P diffusion. Okay, this we will be having, as I have said, there will be slanting lines. Polysilicon you will be having left slanting lines. See the difference, metal you will be having straight lines, and for the contact cuts you will be using square box, black square box. So here for preparing, draw a stick diagram and a layout diagram. See the question what he has asked is, draw a stick diagram, this is a stick diagram, and a layout diagram for your NMOS inverter. So this is your layout. What is the NMOS inverter? You will be having a N transistor, one is in depletion mode and one is in the enhancement mode. What is the operation of the NMOS inverter? It should be giving the output or the opposite of your input. Means as I am giving 1 as the input, you will be getting 0 as the output. As if V in is equals to A, output Y is equals to A bar. So this is one transistor enhancement and this is your depletion mode transistor. Only one input and one output. So this is your NMOS, though both are your NMOS transistor. So for NMOS diffusion, what we require? For NMOS diffusion, which color we require? Green color. So first we go for the stick diagrams. This is your green color, right? We will be having green color stick diagram, correct? Now see, these blue lines show that first metals. As I have already said, first we have to draw the lines VDD and ground. These are the given by your metals, because we are having the interconnections between them. And as we are saying that we are going to prepare an NMOS inverter, so what we have to do? We have to use the green line over here. This is the N diffusion, and this is your polysilicon. Okay, red shows for the first polysilicon, the red line shows your polysilicon 1, and a small blue line is over here. This is your output, V out or A bar, and the input is given by one more polysilicon, that is also red, and you are giving this A stick line or the gate terminal by one metal layer, and that is blue. This is your stick diagram. Now by seeing this stick diagram, it is very easy to determine the layout diagrams also. See what is your layout diagram, what you are going to do here. See in this layout diagram, blue are shown by the metal lines, straight lines. This is the box, you have to do up and down, correct? So we are going to prepare this one, up bar and lower bar. This blue has been drawn like this with the straight lines. Now this is your green color line. The green is for your N diffusion. Same for N diffusion you have to draw, but they should be not very near to each other. These left slanting lines should be far. Okay, they should be far from each other, and you have to draw this one. Correct? So this is your N diffusion line. Okay, this should be somewhat far. Now next go to your polysilicon layer, that is given as red, and they are in the right slanting line. These are left slanting lines and these are right slanting lines. Same like this you have to give here a layout. Okay, Same for the input, we in voltage, one more polysilicon layer is there. Same in the layout diagram also, you have to give the one polysilicon layer. For the input terminals and the output terminal, we need a wiring, and that is given by the metal. So as to show the metal, which color we are using? Blue color metal. So blue color, and the line should be straight lines. So this is how you have to show the lines. And here you will be having the contacts. Here you will be having a contact for the metal layer. One more metal, you will be having contact for the N diffusion. Here also you are having contact with N diffusion polysilicon, and a wire with a polysilicon. Again metal and N diffusion. Here also one metal and N diffusion. And these contacts are shown with your black square. So this is how you are going to prepare a layout diagram. It is very important in point of view of your final examination. I hope you are clear with this example of NMOS inverter. This I have given a basic example. Okay, next I'll give some what you will say assignment questions of your layout, so that you can practice over that. Okay, so let's move to your next example, that is CMOS. This was very simple because we are using only one NMOS inverter. Now what is about CMOS? CMOS is nothing but the combination of your PMOS as well as NMOS inverter. As I was said in the last class, where we have seen about micrometer based design rules, the examiner or the designer has extended some of the color codings as to have some differences. So he has said that for P diffusion we have to use yellow color, and for N diffusion we are using green color, as to avoid all the confusions and all. So CMOS is combination of your PMOS inverter as well as your NMOS inverter, right? So here PMOS and NMOS, they both are combined. You are getting a output over here. Vin should be A and output should be A bar. Now same as we have seen in the stick diagrams in the previous classes, how you are going to design the stick diagram. The basic very first rule is you have to draw the VDD line and ground with the blue color. Then your upper part you will be having yellow line. In the micrometer based design rules, we have seen that we are changing the color of PMOS to yellow. First it was brown. Now for the for more development it has changed to yellow. Then you have to give the yellow lines. Then next one, for N diffusion it is given as green line. Okay, this is clear up to here. Now we have to use a polysilicon layer as to get the gate terminal of your PMOS transistor as well as the NMOS transistor. For getting the gate terminal of your both the transistor, we need a polysilicon layer, and the polysilicon layer is given in which color? Nothing but your red color. As to have the contact with that one, we need a metal layer, and that is given in the blue color, and these two are contacting each other. I am giving it a red dot. I hope you know why we will be giving red dot for the connections. See, in stick diagrams we will be using dot, and for the layout diagrams we will be using your square box, right? Here I have given the contact cuts. Now at the metal layer, here we need a metal layer, okay, as to get your connections. Then one more polysilicon as to get the output, and a small layer. This is your PMOS transistor and this is your NMOS transistor. So by defining this stick diagram, you can easily go for the layout figures. Same this one, just you have to go for the layout figures. Metals, they have to be drawn with the boxes of straight lines, and ground is also with the straight lines. And P diffusion, see, as I have already said, both the N and P diffusions are right slanting lines, but N is somewhat farther, nearer, and P should be somewhat far, as to get the difference between them. So as we have said, some design rules have been changed. Okay, so for the P diffusion we are giving it as a yellow color, and for N diffusion green color. Again one polysilicon layer, and this is your gate terminal. Again you are having a metal layer, a polysilicon, and the output as a metal layer, as to get the output voltage or the output. So this is how you are going to draw the stick diagram as well as the CMOS layout diagram for your CMOS inverter. So I hope you are clear with those two examples of how you are going to prepare the layout diagrams or layout figures. Okay, so in the CMOS inverter, CMOS is complement of both PMOS and NMOS. So as to differentiate the two terminals or the two transistor, different colors are given. For PMOS, as I have said, yellow color is used, and for N diffusion or for the NMOS, it is as usual, it will green color will be used. So this is about your CMOS as well as the NMOS inverter. Now I am giving the stick diagram and one more example of your PMOS style. Okay, see, draw the stick diagram for y is equals to a plus b into c whole bar using PMOS style. Okay, so I am giving an example for this. I will give an assignment for you people to draw the stick diagram of this one. Fine. So I hope you will be drawing the stick diagram. I will be uploading Monday. I will be collecting the assignments. I will give the link also for that one. Okay, so I will give some more examples for you people. So similarly some more examples I will be giving, that I will give as assignment for you people. I hope you will be clear with the stick diagrams and layout. I will give an assignment so that you people will be practicing. In case of any doubts at that time, I can clear you people. Fine. So before moving to next topic, okay, we will be moving for the next topic. The next topic of our syllabus is your scaling of MOS transistor. What is meant by scaling over here? By the name itself you can know what is the scaling. How you have to see the proper scaling, means margins, how much size should be there, how much length, how much width, everything should be given. So scaling of MOS circuit is also very important. And why it is important, what is the aim of this scaling is, in VLSI fabrication is to achieve smaller line bits and smaller size chip area for the higher packing density. What is the actually agenda of your what we'll say fabrication process? Because in the smaller area we have to keep or fabricate number of chips or number of transistors or something, smaller line bit should be there. So what we have to do, we have to make it very small, and plus it should be very reliable also in terms of cost, power, reliability, everything. So scaling is very important in your MOS circuits, because in VLSI fabrication is to achieve smaller line bits. Fabrication, why we are going for the fabrication is, the agenda is that we have to achieve smaller line bits, and the size of the chip should be also smaller, the area of that particular chip also should be smaller, and you should also be having the higher packing density. The scaling also includes the circuit performance. As I have said, scaling includes your circuit performance. Indicators of microcut technology, which shows the scaling. What are the parameters that will be showing your scaling? What are the parameters, based on which parameters you are saying that scaling has to be done properly are? First one is count of the gates, like how many gates you are preparing. Okay, so what are the parameters which will be showing that scaling is done? Will be shown here. So first is count of gates. Count of gates means how many gates you are going to prepare, means how many transistors you are going to dump on that particular chip, and how many gates you will be using. That is the first parameter. And minimum size of the device, you have to ensure that your chip size is very small. That is one of the parameter of your what will get scaling. Means you have to first decide the proper scaling of your size. Then after that you will be seeing how many transistors are to be done, and what are the power requirement areas in that one, how you are going to prepare, or how you are going to fabricate some resistors or something, what are the devices that you require on your chip. Fine. And the third one is power dissipation. All the components that you have used on your particular chip, how much power they require, that is very important. So this is about the power decimation, like how much power will be required for all the components which are fabricated on your chip, and the maximum frequency operation, how much frequency will be required for your particular operation of the chip. Then last one is die size and the coloring. Means we have to see the coloring also, which colors, like stick diagrams or layout diagrams, and size of that particular chip. So these are the scaling parameters that will be indicating like how we have to see all the constraints when we are going to prepare an IC. So this scaling is very important for your MOS circuits, which is showing that the main agenda of that scaling is that the VLSI fabrication is to achieve smaller line bits and smaller size chips, and the area for the higher packing density. It should be small size, line bits also should be small, plus your packing density should be also good. And the parameters which will be indicating all these things are count of the gates, how many gates you are using, what is the sizes of all that particular device, and what is the power consumption or the dissipation is been taken by all the components which are dumped or fabricated on a particular IC, and what is the maximum frequency operation that has been used by all your devices, and the size of your particular die, nothing but your IC. So this scaling also improves the figure of merit. I hope you remember what is figure of merit. This we have seen in your first chapter. What is figure of merit? That is nothing but frequency response of your MOS transistor. Okay. So this figure of merit can also be increased, or that can be improved by shrinking the dimensions of your transistor. So scaling also improves your figure of merit by shrinking the dimensions of your transistor. And these scalings are of three types. Okay, first one is constant field scaling, second one is constant voltage scaling, and third one is lateral scaling. So again, scaling is also three types. We have said that scaling are to be done by depending upon the size, die size, and packing density should be also high, and you have to see the power consumption also. But these again, by showing all these parameters also, again we are dividing this scaling into again three types. First one is your constant field scaling. See, in this constant field scaling, the device is obtained by applying a dimensionless factor S to the dimensions of the device voltages and constant densities. It also maintains the characteristics of the device. So in this constant field scaling, what happens? Your field is already scaled, and you are applying the device which is obtained, what you have obtained or what you have prepared by applying all these dimensionless factors, because we have already find out the particular field to the dimensionless of the device voltages and constant densities. So these actually maintains the characteristics of the device. By using this scaling, the characteristics of the devices will be well and good, because we have already given a particular field. The only changing part over here will be the device voltages and then the remaining parts. So it will be maintaining your characteristics of that particular device. Whereas comes to your constant voltage scaling, in this scaling the voltage is kept constant and the process is scaled. There in the constant field, the field is kept constant and the voltages will be varying. Here is different. While the device is scaled down by the dimension 1 by x, its current density increases by x to the power of 3. Means 3 times of your density will be increased when compared with your constant voltage scaling to the constant field scaling. Where it gate shrinks, the current density increases by x square. Whenever the gates are when gate is shrinking the current, then it will be giving the increasing the current density to the x square or double of that one. So this is how your constant voltage scaling will be working. Now comes to the lateral scaling. That in this part, the lateral scaling, the only gate that is scaled or used, which is called as gate string. Okay, the lateral scaling is the only gate length is scaled which is called as gate string. Lateral scaling is easy to implement. The two scaling factors which are used in this are 1 by alpha and 1 by beta. So this actually, the constant field scaling means field is kept constant, voltage is varied, and due to that one your characteristics are good. In second one, what you are doing, constant voltage scaling, here the voltage is kept constant and process is scaled, means you are doing the dimension scaling. Okay, if the gate strings more, what happens, the current density will be increases by double of its one. When comes to the lateral scaling, it is only depends upon the gate length. So this scaling is only used where the gate length is scaled. Whenever you want to scale or you want to change the gate length of something, at that part only we will be using this lateral scaling. And this lateral scaling is easy to implement also. And the two scaling factors that are used in this are 1 by alpha and 1 by beta. Just for that one. So these are about your, what you'll say, scalings of MOS transistors. Okay, I hope you are clear with today's topics, layout diagrams and scaling of MOS transistors. Then in the next class we are going to see about limitations of the scaling. Okay, there are two subtopics of this one. We'll discuss that in the next class. I hope you are clear with the layout diagrams and stick diagrams. I'll be giving an assignment for you people based upon this layout diagrams and stick diagrams. Please do that stick diagrams and layout diagrams, practice well, and submit this assignment me on Monday morning. Fine, I'll be providing the link for you people for that one. Okay, we'll wind up today's class here itself. Thank you.